Tanzania held a presidential election on October 29, 2025. The incumbent president, Samia Suluhu Hassan, claimed she won with 98% of the vote. 98%. Her chief rivals had been barred from the presidential race before Election Day. The internet was shut down, a curfew was imposed, and when people took to the streets to protest, the police opened fire. In November 2025, CNN published an investigation, geolocated videos, audio forensic analysis, satellite imagery, first-hand witnesses. They showed what happened in the streets of Dar es Salaam, Arusha, and Mwanza after that election. The UN Human Rights Office said hundreds were killed. Amnesty International documented widespread lethal force. The U.S. Senate Foreign Relations Committee demanded an independent investigation. And then, in April 2026, Tanzania's own government-appointed commission published its report. It confirmed 518 people were killed in the post-election crackdown. The government that fired on its own people confirmed the number, 518. Today, everything CNN found, everything the satellite showed, everything that Tanzania hoped the world would not see, and the question at the end of all of it. Who is Samia Suluhu Hassan and what was the election? Tanzania. Population, 67 million. East Africa's largest economy by some measures. Home to Serengeti, Kilimanjaro, Zanzibar. Every year, millions of tourists visit. It has been described for decades as one of Africa's most stable democracies. Samia Suluhu Hassan became Tanzania's first president in March 2021. After President John Magufuli died in office, she was his vice president. When she assumed the presidency, she was celebrated internationally. Africa's first female head of state from the mainland, seen as a reformer, opening up civic space that Magufuli had closed. She was praised by Western governments, by African civil society. She was held up as a model. Then came October 2025, her first election as the sitting president. She was seeking a full term of her own, and what happened in that election, and in the days that followed, destroyed that reputation. What happened before the vote, and the 98% before Election Day, Tanzania's government had systematically minor removed the logistical most challenges. serious competition. The main opposition party, Chadema, saw its candidates and leaders detained, harassed, and barred from running. Several opposition figures were arrested in the weeks before the election. Others simply could not complete the registration process under conditions the opposition described as deliberately obstructive. On October 29th, polls opened, and immediately, demonstrations broke out. In Dar es Salaam, in Arusha, in Mwanza, voters and opposition supporters reacted to what they were seeing at the polling stations, to the barring of their candidates, to the conditions that many described as not resembling a free vote. Security forces were deployed. An internet blackout was imposed. A curfew was announced in Dar es Salaam after clashes. Roadblocks were set up by the Tanzanian Fire, army, but not what lit turning it. away anyone who They could tell not you people prove are they were an angry, essential worker. but not why they're. When the results were announced, Samia Suluhu Hassan claimed 98% of the vote, not 58, not 68, 98. In a country with a real opposition, with millions of voters, with an active civil society, 98%. Chadema, the main opposition party, formally rejected the results, calling them completely fabricated. And the protests, instead of dispersing, intensified. What CNN found? CNN's investigation used 4 types of evidence. I want to explain each one, because this is not a single leaked video. This is a documented multi-methodology investigation. First, geolocated video footage. CNN reviewed dozens of videos circulating on social media and submitted by sources. Each video was geolocated, meaning the exact location where it was filmed was confirmed by matching landmarks. It's the sound of a country that's tired of pretending everything's fine. Maps. If the video showed an incident, CNN could confirm it happened at the specific location claimed. Second, audio forensic analysis. CNN conducted audio forensic analysis of the shots captured on video. This confirmed the type of weapon being fired, allowing analysts to distinguish between rubber bullets, live ammunition, and tear gas canisters. What the analysis found, live ammunition was being fired at protesters. Third, satellite imagery. CNN used high-resolution satellite images from Planet Labs, Vantor, and Sentinel-2, the European Space Agency's Earth observation system. These are not government sources. These are commercial and international satellite systems whose imagery can be independently verified. Fourth, first-hand accounts. Witnesses, victims, medical professionals, all speaking, most anonymously, out of fear for their safety. What the video showed? In the city of Arusha, CNN geolocated and verified a video showing Tanzanian police fatally shooting two protesters who appeared to pose no threat. One of them, a pregnant woman who was shot in the back while running away. She was running away. She was pregnant. She was shot in the back. In the Ubungo area of Dar es Salaam, CNN footage showed armed men in civilian clothes operating alongside uniformed police officers, firing on protesters, not rogue individuals. Armed men with weapons, working beside the uniformed forces of the Tanzanian state. Viral Scout Management, a local sports management company, issued a statement on social media saying that 7 young soccer players under their contracts were shot and killed at their homes during the protests. Their homes, not at a demonstration, at home. The company later posted that the bodies of 6 of them could not be located.
Eyes bleeding, more gunshots.
CNN geolocated videos from the Sekou Touré Regional Referral Hospital in Mwanza and the Imwananyamala Hospital in Dar es Salaam. In Mwanza, photos and videos outside the hospital show at least 10 bodies piled on a stretcher. In Dar es Salaam, a video geolocated at the morgue of Mwananyamala Hospital shows dozens of bodies covering the floor, piled on top of each other. A doctor who treated victims of gunshot wounds over 4 days at the Mwanza hospital, who requested anonymity for fear of reprisals, told CNN the dead were brought to the morgue by police until it was full. After that, he said, they piled the bodies. Tanzania's Ministry of Health denied the authenticity of the footage in a statement on social media. The ministry did not respond to CNN's request for comment. A woman who requested anonymity out of concern for her safety told CNN she saw the morgue video and recognized the body of her brother, who had been shot and killed on the balcony of his own home. She told CNN, "We've been looking for his body at every mortuary in Dar es Salaam since 1st November, but he was not there." The satellite evidence, the most damning finding. A coalition of Tanzanian human rights groups and 2 local sources told CNN that some of the bodies of the protesters killed after October 29th had been buried in a mass grave at the Kondo cemetery.
It was something
in
darker,
Kunduchi, something that felt like the country was turned. CNN investigated with satellite imagery. High-resolution images from Planet Labs and Vantor taken on November 9th and November 15th show disturbed ground in a barren plot of land 60 meters from the edge of existing graves at the Kondo cemetery. Further analysis using Sentinel-2 imagery, the European Space Agency's Earth observation satellite, showed that the digging was done between November 2nd and November 5th, that is 4 to 7 days after the post-election killings, in a cemetery, 60 meters from existing graves. CNN obtained a video filmed on the ground after the soil was disturbed. It shows a series of spots of sandy overturned soil, weaving between patches of vegetation. In one area of the fresh soil, what appear to be roots stick out. Atop another is what appears to be fabric. CNN was careful, and I will be careful too, to note that the exact reason for the disturbance is unclear. They did not confirm they found bodies at the site. What they confirmed is, the soil was disturbed in a cemetery, 60 meters from existing graves, in the days immediately after a mass killing, in a location identified by multiple human rights sources as a site where protesters' bodies were buried. The main opposition party, Chadema, accused police of disposing of hundreds of unknown bodies at undisclosed locations. Multiple members of the public were still searching for missing family members weeks after the election. Bodies could not be found at known morgues. Family members had seen loved ones killed and could not locate the bodies. The government's own commission confirmed 518 dead. Now here is the detail that changes everything about this story. President Samia Suluhu Hassan's government denied the morgue videos. It denied the opposition's claims. It suggested the protesters had been paid, and then it appointed its own commission to investigate what happened. In April 2026, 6 months after the election, that commission published its report, and the number it confirmed, 518 people killed. Not the UN, not CNN, not Amnesty International, not the opposition. The emotional fracture far more than any analysis or headline. 518 people killed in the post-election crackdown. The opposition Chadema said the number was between 1,000 and 2,000. The UN said hundreds. The government said 518. Even the lowest confirmed number, 518, makes this one of the deadliest post-election crackdowns in recent African history. And when the U.S. Senate Foreign Relations Committee reviewed CNN's reporting, it issued a statement, posted on X, demanding an independent investigation. It said, evidence of mass graves show an unacceptable attempt to cover up gross violations of human rights. The American Senate's Foreign Relations Committee, citing CNN's reporting, calling it a cover-up of an African election, and most African media barely covered it. Why Africa needs to talk about Tanzania? I want to talk to you directly for a moment, because I know that some people watching this channel wonder, when we cover something like Tanzania, whether we are just amplifying Western narratives against African governments. Here is my answer. This channel has covered every verified example of Western interference in African affairs. The DGSE spy arrests in Burkina Faso, the U.S. Embassy visa blackmail, the AFRICOM general accusing Traoré in the Senate, the coup plots against Traoré from neighboring countries, the HRW report and what it left out. We hold foreign governments accountable when they act against African sovereignty, and we hold African governments accountable when they act against African people. Because the Tanzanian women who went out to protest on October 29, 2025, they are African people. The young men whose bodies filled those morgues, they are African people. The pregnant woman who was shot in the back while running away in Arusha, she is an African person. African sovereignty is not worth anything if it only protects the sovereignty of governments against foreign interference, and not the sovereignty of African citizens against their own governments. Those are the same principle. Both of them matter. Both of them are on this channel. The pattern and the question. And here is the pattern I want you to notice about Tanzania. The internet was shut down before the election results. Social media was restricted so that Tanzanians could not share video or coordinate. A curfew was imposed. Protesters were killed. Bodies were hidden. The Ministry of Health denied the morgue footage. And only when an international news organization with satellite imagery, forensic audio analysis, and geolocated videos published its investigation did the scale of what had happened become impossible to deny. Even then, the government launched its own commission, rather than inviting an independent international one. This is the cover-up pattern. Control the information, restrict the network, deny the evidence, appoint your own investigation, and hope the world forgets. Tanzania is one of Africa's most visited tourist destinations. Millions of dollars flow in every year from people who go to see the Serengeti, Kilimanjaro, Zanzibar. The government that asked for that tourism money is the same government whose commission confirmed 518 of its own people were killed in the streets after an election where the winner claimed 98% of the vote. I am not asking you to boycott Tanzania. I am asking you to know what happened there. And to ask the same question we ask everywhere on this channel: who is being held accountable? Because those 518 families deserve an answer to that question. And so far, they have not received one. Every source for this video is in the pinned comment, including the full CNN investigation link, the Wikipedia page with the April 2026 Commission report, and the UN Human Rights Office statements. Read them. Tell me in the comments, do you think the African Union should have done more? And do you think the standard we apply to Tanzania should be the same standard we apply to every government, including the ones the West wants to take down? Subscribe, because this channel covers Africa with the same standard everywhere. No exceptions, no favorites.